Good evening, I'm Dan Rather, and tonight on CBS News.
In a shocking development, the federal government says being broke is allowed, but if you're broke and glowing, you are officially now a suspect.
You can't be glowing more than your financial status. Look your problem.
Producers have confirmed next season of Love Island will merge with the Hunger Games. Only one couple will survive the new format. Everyone else dies.
Senator Buck Nutley has unveiled his Big Girthy bill, a new proposal meant to rival the Big Beautiful bill. But does size really matter?
The shocking trend of Labubu violation continues as more and more people are finding their dolls' holes stretched wide open and reeking of shame.
If you thought Bigfoot was bad, wait till you meet his gooey cousin. A kumsquatch was just spotted in Dongwood National Forest.
Did you know IKEA has released a home glory hole kit called the Fuke Hole? It includes pre-drilled panels, mounting brackets, and a stain-proof finish. We begin with breaking news out of Massachusetts, where residents are reeling from what scientists are calling a cum-comet impact.
Officials are asking everyone to stay indoors and to wear N95 masks in case of cum aerolization.
President Trump kicking off another busy week at the White House.
It has been yet another eventful week in Washington.
The activity level is off the charts. The president dialed in. He is executing his agenda at a lightning fast pace. Here's something we rarely see in American politics. President Trump is actually keeping his campaign promises, and he's doing them as quickly as possible.
This administration's moving at political light speed, and they're just getting started.
We're going to have one shot at this, and no other president's going to do what I'm doing.
Goodbye. We love you. We will be back in some form. Have a good life. We will see you soon. Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's official. Former President Donald Trump will be running for president again in 2024.
Donald Trump got the stamina and the will to do this again? He's come under such tremendous...
Everything is on the line in this election.
A busy day in the campaign world up in Butler today. Former President Trump holding a rally at 5 o'clock.
He just tried to kill President Trump.
Not even an assassin.
If we're not careful, AI could make it impossible to distinguish truth from fiction in the news we consume.
So, Keisha, what's a high-value man to you?
A man that gave me 10 kids, 3 evictions, $10 on Cash App, and still pull up in a Nissan Altima that sound like he got asthma.
Day one of trying to make it to work without yelling at a pedestrian. Pray for me, y'all.
Still alive. Still unemployed. But, baby, I look G-O-D doing it. Oh, my God. I'm not even late. I'm just dramatic. Y'all know I will risk it all for a good melon.
We have breaking news. A laser-guided ship missile has just been launched from Rectomopolis, reportedly targeting Pennsylvania.
We're live from the scene where a laser-guided ship missile launched from Rectomopolis has struck Pennsylvania. This just in, a pubnadal blankets St. Louis in a thick bush this evening.
Downtown is completely covered in pubic hair, causing highways to close out of caution.
It's coming right for us. We need to get out of here now. Oh my God, it's taking the houses. A massive gizzard has buried Kamlambus in 2 feet of dong load. Locals blame the lack of preparation on Mayor Linda P. Slurp.
The city of Columbus is reeling today after an unprecedented event. What officials are calling a gizzard has left downtown streets. Customs officials at Orbital Port 69 have seized over 420 stolen jork blades, many still warm and dripping. A magnitude 6.9 queefquake rattled Clamlip Valley this morning, releasing a torrent of pussy farts. The children's reading session of This Little Piggy Got Pegged has been cancelled, with parents saying the book is too anatomically detailed for kids.
Lawmakers remain deadlocked on the big beautiful bill, with some saying $10 billion more is needed for fleshlights and robo-cooters for dudes on dry spells.
Los Angeles, because she served her fried chicken instead of a quinoa salad.
Megan Mayonnaise went to the restaurant called The Last Supper, where she claimed she was flabbergasted that they would serve her fried chicken when she in fact ordered a quinoa salad. Ms. Mayonnaise said waitress Sharkeisha Trinity knowingly gave her fried chicken, although Ms. Mayonnaise pleaded that she didn't want to eat any urban food. We have Ms. Mayonnaise along with her attorney, Roger Bangher. Can you explain how you were feeling, Ms. Mayonnaise?
I told Sharkeisha Trinity 300 times, let me speak with your manager. And she just kept twerking, sticking her tongue out and laughing at me.
We have exclusive CCTV footage from the restaurant of Miss Mayonnaise and Sharkeisha's fried chicken confrontation.
Miss Mayonnaise is suing Sharkeisha Trinity for everything she got, which is 3 deadbeat fathers and $100 in unpaid child support.
We need your $80,000 down payment now.
Can I do 6 child support checks, 1 EBT card, 10 Section 8 credits, and 2 Medicaid payments?
We take it all.
Welcome back to White News Network. I'm your host, Kimberly Kumquat. Today, the BFI released documents that claim no special files exist from that one famous island. Wink, wink. BFI director said, quote unquote, although you've seen plenty of known people at that island, no American people, you were just seeing shit. The BFI office also released perfectly edited 24-hour surveillance footage of that jail cell where the main guy in charge was being held. At this point, these guys are playing in our face. Most of you are too blind to see it.
Welcome back, folks, to the White News Network. I'm your host, Tom Blandley, and tonight a white woman is leaving her husband after trying a YN. HOA President Skylar White told WNN she is filing for divorce because, quote unquote, after trying a YN, you never go back. Her husband, Kevin White, owner of Proud Boys Country Club, says he is devastated by the news and that it is, quote unquote, total malarkey. The divorce hearing is set for July 13th at Cornbread District Family Court. If Mrs. White wins, she will be entitled to half of his shit that she never worked for. Next up, rock star Roger Bangher has already impregnated 3 women on his Fuckfest tour. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Want to do some totally unnecessary shit like mountain jump with a fly suit on? Then head over to whitepeopleshit.com.
Whitepeopleshit.com.
Swim with sharks. It's a blast. Make memories that last.
Whitepeopleshit.com.
All right, all right. Yo, what's up, y'all? Let's do some news. No news. I see you in the building. And brother Zeke, actually, let me pin that Black Manosphere Conclave to the top of the chat. All right, man. Let's start off with a news montage. Jesse Waters. It's actually my guy over at Fox. I like Jesse.
Monks just broke their vows of silence to nominate Trump. 70,000 monks just broke their vows of silence to nominate Trump for the Nobel.
Dear Mr. President Trump, we are standing here today with hearts full of appreciation. Today, 70,000 Cambodian Buddhist monks are wholeheartedly supportive of our Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Manet to nominate you for the Nobel Peace Prize. Please accept, Mr. President.
70,000 monks can't be wrong. After Trump brokered a peace deal between Cambodia and Thailand, the monks went ultra MAGA and shaved their heads like Stephen Miller. So 47's thinking about sending them all 70,000 of them Trump 2028 hats, duty and tariff free.
Yo, that's crazy. 70,000 monks just nominated him for the Nobel Peace Prize. I didn't even know that there was. I mean, I heard that there was some conflict on the border between Cambodia and Thailand, but I didn't know it was all crazy like this. Trump all over making peace deals with all these little ancillary conflicts that we don't even be hearing about. Did somebody say 7 peace deals in 7 months? Yo, so what? That's these 70,000 monks. That's Netanyahu nominating them. President of the Congo. President of Azerbaijan. Whoa.
Zelensky and Macron went home yesterday with hats that said 4 more years. Just like when you visit a museum, Trump brought them to the gift shop right before they hit the door. Putin wanted a hat too, but instead Melania gave him a letter that said, "Stop killing kids." And Trump buzzed them with B-2s.
Alaska was a show of force by President Trump. He invited President Putin to land that the Russians used to own. He displayed a huge amount of military hardware and then did a flyover. It was kind of like inviting your uncontrollable neighbor to your house and showing him your gun case.
Trump's giving everybody options, the easy way or the hard way. This time, Zelensky picked the easy way. He wore a suit, said his thank yous, and brought Trump a big, beautiful gift, a putter from a Ukrainian soldier who lost his legs in a war and then picked up golf. Engraved on the head, "Let's putt peace together."
Constantine, first of all, I just watched your swing. I know a lot about golf, and your swing is great. It looks beautiful, and you're going to be a very good golfer very soon. But I also want to thank you for this putter. It's beautiful, and it's made with real love, and it's given to me with real love from you, and I appreciate that. Every time I sink a putt, I'll be thinking about you.
Maybe the president will bring his new putter to Doral, where the PGA just announced Trump's club will host a tour event. The Europeans already calling it Daddy Shack. Yesterday, they were on their best behavior. Trump kept calling France's president by his first name, Emmanuel, and Macron responded with a Mr. President. He was, quote, like a schoolboy speaking to his teacher. That's how President Trump likes his allies to behave. And although the leaders were still meeting as this column went to press, he appears to have whipped them into shape. The Europeans were sitting around the Resolute desk yesterday like they were waiting for class to start. Trump was giving Europe a geography lesson. He even put up the big, beautiful map and sent it home with Zelensky as homework. If Zelensky can read a map like Trump can read a putt, we'll have a deal in no time. The last president to save Europe from Russian aggression was Reagan, and his portrait was staring them down in the Oval. Compare that to Trump's first term, when Europe and Merkel were trying to look down on him and tell him he...
Yo, and this picture says it all. Trump with his arms folded in the defensive posture. There's that snake Bolton right there behind him on his right. That traitor. Look at this Big Bertha Merkel. Trump was out there just surrounded by enemies that first term. It's a miracle he got anything done.
He was wrong. Now Europe realizes he was right about everything, and they're the ones doing the listening. Even Obama's guys are admitting 47's in control.
Whoever had the idea to bring all these European leaders together, in addition to President Zelensky, that was a brilliant idea.
Donald Trump didn't make Europe feel too comfortable. When it was time to get down to business and call Putin, he kicked them out of the room.
I didn't do it in front of them. I thought that would be disrespectful to President Putin. I wouldn't do that because they have not had the warmest relations. And actually, President Putin wouldn't talk to the people from Europe. I mean, that was part of the problem.
CNN is now whining that Zelensky had to wait in the hallway.
The fact that he feels he's got to check in with Putin right away still feels like Trump needs Putin's approval in a way that's got to be very disturbing to Zelensky sitting there.
This CNN News Network are so irrelevant at this time because Kimberly Dozier, global affairs analyst, they're so irrelevant at this point. And they're going to go the way as of MSNBC, having their brand destroyed. CNN's next.
This isn't CNN's first rodeo. They should know the first time Putin and Zelensky talk should be face-to-face, not on speakerphone. And what? Trump's not supposed to call Vlad to set up the next round of talks? Who else is he going to call?
Yo, what up, Storm? Said, what kind of weak-ass argument is this? Yeah, bro, it's pathetic. I'm gonna do the MSNBC name change next too. I got the joint you say, man. I'm going to do the Byron Donaldson joint, and I think it's Marco Rubio going at the CBS host over Zelensky. I'm going to do that one too. Y'all really be helping this. This news desk show. All right, and for all your help, gentlemen.
Why is everyone obsessed with calling me AI? I'm just vibing, living my truth. Y'all need to chill.
Y'all keep saying I'm not real? Bruh, I'm out here soaking up the sun. Get with it.
These AI chicks are gonna end up killing these OnlyFans girls and Instagram models, bro. I'm telling you. Hold on, what's this say? Said he called Putin because he wants to keep the peace deal on the table. Facts. Now this strag want to act up. Exactly. Sitting from the news desk. Where was she at for the last 4 years? Yo, exactly. And that's why they've lost all credibility. The segment on MSNBC becoming MS Now is actually pretty hilarious.
Obama talked to Putin. Hillary talked to Putin. Biden even talked to Putin. How are you supposed to end the war if you don't talk to the guy who started it? CNN tried to get the Finns to leak another perfect phone call.
Do you know what Trump said to Putin on the phone? I mean, what were the specifics that he put out there?
Obviously, in diplomacy, what happens in the Oval Office stays in the Oval Office when the media is not in there. I've been involved in peace mediation before, and I think that President Trump is genuinely trying to bring this war to an end.
Trump says, if you're curious, I'll tell you.
We had a very good call. And I told him that we're going to set up a meeting with President Zelensky, and you and he will meet. And then after that meeting, if everything works out, okay, I'll meet and we'll wrap it up. But it takes in this case two to tango. They have to have somewhat of a relationship. Otherwise, we're just wasting a lot of time. I don't want to be doing that. I just want to end it.
The White House says Putin's agreed to meet Zelensky one-on-one. Could happen within the next few weeks. And they're shopping around for a site.
Yo, salute. What up, Lord of Brooklyn? I see you, Playboy. Here's a drop. Welcome.
Why is everyone obsessed with calling me AI? I'm just vibing, living my truth. Y'all need to chill.
Y'all keep saying I'm not real? Bruh, I'm out here soaking up the sun. Get with it.
Budapest is now the front runner, but Switzerland making a last-second play, promising not to arrest the Russian leader on war crimes. How diplomatic. But Obama's right-hand woman, Susan Rice, says Trump doesn't understand the art of the deal.
Russia interfered in the 2016 election by disinformation campaigns, and rather than...
She's still pushing this Russia hoax. Susan Rice coming back out. Why? Because just trying to be relevant in the light of all of Trump's successes. All of these Democrats, all of these fixtures and in the elite realm of the Democrats, they're all becoming irrelevant because the shadow being cast by basically achievements have made them look small and diminutive in terms of their accomplishments and their past administrations. They hate this. If we sweep the midterms, I've been telling Saul this, like, I want to utterly destroy this party because they have to be taught a lesson. KL Logical Truth, Sloop Playboy, what up, Zeke? Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, we did send you a cash app, Zeke. Whatchamacallit? Yeah, we're sending the cash apps out to some of the members. And we're gonna start doing it monthly. So you guys remember to send me them emails with your cash apps. We got a spreadsheet, man. We got a spreadsheet.
Put the sort of pressure on Putin and Russia. He is rolling out the red carpet, doing military flyovers, giving him a ride in the presidential limousine.
Rice thought buzzing Putin with B-2s was an honor. It was a flex. And why not get to know each other in the beast? 41 flew VAD on Marine One, took him to Kennebunkport to meet with his son. They rode up and down the Maine coast on the family's Fidelity 3. Could you imagine if Trump took Putin to Bedminster and played a round of golf? Picking up the phone isn't even close to that. Rice's commander-in-chief wrote love letters to the Ayatollah. Did that stop the Iranians from nuking up? No. Hillary gave the Russians a reset button. Did that stop the Russians from invading Ukraine? No. The Democrats can sit this one out. Trump's just fixing the left's mess.
From the beginning of this entire process, much of the left-wing media has been active.
I just peeped that. Universal Black, you a channel member. I see you ain't got no wrench. I'll be telling you if you... And that looks like you've been channel member for more than 30 days, right? Hold on for a second. Let me give you a wrench, Playboy. Yeah, you ain't got no wrench. And look like you've been a member. You green? Yeah, it was green. Let me see. Yeah, you're green. You've been a channel member for more than 30 days. Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second. Standard moderator. Bang, you should be wrenched up. Type something in the chat. Type something in the chat, Universal Black. Let's see if they put a wrench next to you. All right, well, you've been added as a mod. You got a wrench. Let's go.
Rooting against the president of the United States in the pursuit of peace. All weekend following those historic U.S.
Oh, bang. There you go. Wrenched up. Wrench gang, Playboy. Wrench gang.
We got more pricey games coming up in the second half of the show. Don't go away, folks. We got more pricey games coming up in the second half of the show. Don't go away, folks.
All right, let's go, man.
Russia bilateral talks, we listened to clueless pundits on television trying but failing to claim that the president had failed. The so-called experts in the foreign policy establishment, whose record is nothing but endless wars, trillions of wasted taxpayer dollars, and dead Americans, have the nerve to try and lecture President Trump, who has solved 7 global conflicts in 7 months.
Trump stopping wars that started on Democrats' watch. Even the monks get it. Even Democrats like Stephen A. get it.
It was Biden in office when a full-fledged war against Ukraine took place. It was Russia that invaded Crimea, and that was under the Obama administration. It was Clinton in office when you made a deal that disarmed the Ukraine and therefore weakened them, leaving them dependent on the United States. What I'm saying is promises made are supposed to be promises kept.
What was Joe Biden's plan to win the war in Ukraine? He didn't have one. What was Biden's plan to end the war in Ukraine? He didn't have one.
Yo, exactly. No news. You said that's the part that the left doesn't want to acknowledge. Yeah, Trump is getting things done. And the point I made yesterday is whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, or whatever, this is the bottom line. This man ran on a platform, a policy platform, and he ran on accomplishing A, B, C, D, E, F, G. From the moment he went in office after winning the popular vote and the electoral college, which is a mandate from the people, meaning that we like what A, B, C, D, E, F, G is, and we're putting our full force behind you for you to get in there and do that. Since day one, it's like he's been walking around with a checklist and he's been checking off A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But like him or not, that's all you can ask for a public servant or a politician or something when they run on a platform. They say they're going to do something, that they try to the best of their ability to deliver those things within a timely manner. That, you know what I'm saying? All they got left is the Epstein list argument to think Dems would sit on a bombshell with Trump's name on it is insane. Yeah, and like I said, the Epstein thing that's just gaslighting. But here's the thing: he said, "Okay, y'all talking shit. I'm going to release some of the stuff." And like I said, and since the list came, part of the documents came up that show Clinton flown to the island 24 times. You see, they didn't stop talking about the Epstein. The media didn't stop talking about the Epstein thing, right? Like I said, like it or not, he's getting shit done, bro.
If Kamala won, did she have a strategy? Of course not. The Europeans just don't want to be next on Putin's menu. And that makes sense. But now that Trump made Europe foot the bill for the war, they're like, all right, let's call it a day. And after their meeting yesterday, they told Trump at the table, great talk.
Yo, bingo, that part right there. You heard what he just said? People don't peep what Trump did. Even part of Trump forcing the European Union to pay up what they're due via NATO, for NATO, he negotiated that simultaneously. Zelensky blew up the deal in the Oval Office. So he said, all right, I'm going to let y'all eat missiles and bullets for the next few months while I do the rest of this. He made the EU pay their fair share. He struck that deal with them, right? Right after that, he went back to trying to broker the ceasefire and the peace deal with Ukraine and Russia. And now, based on the deal that Trump struck with the EU, now that they're forced to actually come out of their pocket to keep the war going in Ukraine, all of a sudden, now they want that shit to end as quickly as possible because we was footing the bill for the war. Now that Europe has to foot the bill, they're like, okay, yo, let's get this war wrapped up. Smart, right?
We'll see you in a month or two.
Is that a month or two? You're going to have another 40,000 people dead in a month or two. You have to do it tonight.
The Obama-Biden doctrine of strategic patience, a.k.a. don't change anything, just got doged. Trump doesn't have time for shenanigans. And if you look at the body count, neither does Ukraine. You can see why the president has the wind at his back. Trump's approval rating's been surging. Insider Advantage has him up 8 points since July. But Trump's not making peace for politics or for the Nobel Peace Prize. Maybe just a little. He's doing it because he wants to walk through the pearly gates.
I want to try and get to heaven if possible. I'm hearing I'm not doing well. I hear I'm really at the bottom of the totem pole. But if I can get to heaven, this will be one of the reasons.
When Trump got shot in the head in Butler, it changed him. He believes God saved his life to keep him on earth, to put America first and stop the killing. And deep down, Trump knows he's been a little bit of a bad boy. So ending the Ukraine war is going to go a long way with the big guy upstairs.
All right, bet. Yo, salute Shabazz. I see you, Playboy. Universal Black says there's a report of a cybersecurity officer from Israel who got caught up in a Chris Hansen raid. Storm says, I block all them trolls in the comments who say trash about the Epstein files when it has nothing to do with Epstein. Absolutely. Spot on. All right, let's have a good laugh before we do the Byron Donald segment. Let's have a good laugh, and let's laugh at MSNBC now becoming the Mrs. the Ms. Network, MS Now. So lame. So lame. Yo, Red Lion ESV, what up, Playboy? I see you, man. All right, let's go. So I said I was going to do this one today because we didn't have a chance to cover it yesterday. Yeah, MSNBC, a parent company, is removing the NBC. Now they're just that's them completely removing themselves from that toxic brand because it's also a money loser. And how apropos to start the MSNBC segment off with the number one loser over there who got fired first, Joy Congo Reed.
Country into a slave hell. But they can clean it up now because they got the Smithsonian. They can get rid of all the...
Let me tell you something, man. I'm offended every time Joy Reid talks all this slave shit. She's an immigrant. Her parents are from the Congo. Her parents wasn't here doing Jim Crow and all this other stuff. None of her ancestors. So I think a lot of times when they be rerunning this slave this and slave this, and none of their people are FBA and they're first and second generation immigrants, I think that be them low key calling us cicadas, man.
The slavery stuff. They got PragerU that can lie about the history to the children. They can't originally invent anything more than they ever were able to invent good music. We black folk gave y'all country music, hip hop, R&B.
Bro, you went out of your way to make up a full troll account Byron Donald's reparations denier. You got a lot of time on your hands, Playboy. You got a lot of time on your hands. Yeah, we know Byron Donalds has got an argument against reparations. We go by the 80-20 rule over here. As long as we agree with 80% of what you're saying, the 20% that's in the other corner, you know what I'm saying? We'll live with that. We got to work with what we got. Welcome to the world of politics, where adults live, and we try to actually get shit done. And you apparently get a lot done because you have time to create a troll account to match your actual statement. Congratulations. You're a winner.
She got your ass.
Now on with the show.
Be jazz, rock and roll. They couldn't even invent that, but they have to call a white man the king because they couldn't make rock and roll. So they have to stamp the king on a man whose main song was stolen from an overweight black woman.
Boy. So we got to talk about some pretty embarrassing news involved.
No news by your facts. He said AC said Keisha has the uncanny ability to turn one bum into two bums. Joy Reid turned the whole network into bums. Yo, that's a whole fact though, Playboy. That's a whole fact though.
Involving MSNBC, aka MSDNC, aka MSCCP. However, MSNBC is not going to be known as MSNBC anymore because NBC has decided that MSNBC is too embarrassing of a brand to continue to have its name associated with it, right? As the network is spinning off, right? So Comcast is spinning off the network into a separate company, right? And now, again, MSNBC is changing their name because NBC decided that they don't want to have their brand as a part of MSNBC, right? They don't want to be associated with whatever the hell is going on at MSNBC, right? So let's go ahead and react to this clip here, okay, of MSNBC reacting to news that they are now rebranding, that they have to drop the NBC from their name because they came up with a worse name that is currently getting roasted. So without further ado, let's get into it.
All right, we have breaking news as it pertains to our network. This morning, a new name for the network by the end of the year. We will become MS Now, which stands for My Source for News, Opinion, and the World. And look, Andrew, they even have a graphic up. I like
there it is.
Actually,
wow. MS Now. Somebody in the creative department should be fired for this, bro. MS Now. Now I'm just going to start calling it BS Now, right? BS Now would have been a more accurate name for what you're getting on this channel, right? So MSNBC is no longer MSNBC anymore, right? They're now MS Now, right? So again, if you want your BS Now, tune in to what was formerly known as MSNBC.
The new logo.
It looks very sporty.
Nice. Let's be nice. We don't have to go there.
I
mean, you're not wrong, but you didn't have to say it. I mean, good Lord.
Which I got to say, you know, I got a call yesterday afternoon, and they're saying, we hope you're okay. We're going. I was like, what do you mean? Like, this shows we're independent. And what I've said on this show time and time again is you look at the people that are running the company, they're entrepreneurial.
Right.
Like when you have somebody come into your company after working for like big corporations and say, and you're talking, you're saying, and they go, we want you to be entrepreneurial. We want you to come up with new ideas. We want you to push the boundaries. I'm excited about that. So I'm excited about this too. It's like, you know, what's in a name? Well, whatever you put into the name.
Well, look, my understanding is this decision was a choice by NBC Universal.
Right.
Man, they are coping hard, bro. They are coping hard over there, like
emotional damage.
Yo, what up, Song? Said Ms. National Organization of Women's. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah, bro. Yo, they are coping hard. And it's a shame. I used to actually like Aaron Sorkin on the, until he turned into a stark, raving, friggin' liberal.
Originally, they were going to leave the Peacock with the different units.
Right.
They decided that they wanted that to stay with NBC Universal. Having said that, despite my sentimentality about the Peacock, I've always loved the Peacock.
Yeah.
The truth is, I've always thought about this network and CNBC and USA and actually all of those assets as insurgent networks.
Right.
This is an insurgent network, and I love
that. Yeah, it's a leftist insurgent propaganda network, and it looks like they're going to start pulling some of their funding because this is no longer a profitable business model.
Idea, to be honest with you, you can take out your salt shaker or whatever you want to do and say, you know, take it with a grain of salt. But I like this because I think it actually does have this sort of independence and actually gets away in some ways from even the idea of legacy media, right? I mean,
this is cope, right? This is a lot of cope because ultimately, again, what is happening here is that NBC said, no, we don't want you guys to be associated with our brand anymore, right? That's actually what's happening, right? MSNBC is being dropped. That's what's happening. That's what's happening, right? So that's why they have to change their name, is because the actual owners of the name are like, nah, we don't want your network to have our name anymore, right? But they're trying to frame this as, oh, well, now we're independent. We're independent, right? What is independent about MSNBC? There's nothing independent about this network, right? This network is an arm of the...
Facts.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap.
Saul said, as you can see, leave the peacock. It's symbolic of castration. MS now sponsored by Nathan's Hot Dogs, Skittles, and the color blue. They've been peacocked. Man, I'm a peacock. You gotta let me fly, bro. They're gonna get dragged on the internet for this shit.
Democrat Party. It is a propaganda platform for Democrats. It is very anti-Trump. Okay, it's very anti-Republican. It is progressive. What's independent about it, right? I mean, there's nothing independent about it right now. Okay, so at this point, MSNBC or BS Now, right? BS Now. BS Now is gonna have to sink or swim on their own, right? They're gonna have to make money on their own, okay, without Comcast and others coming to their rescue when they're facing financial problems. So let's read here. The longtime liberal cable channel MSNBC is about to undergo the biggest change in its nearly 3-decade history, according to a new report from NBC. Comcast is spinning the network out into a separate company and rebranding it as MS Now, removing all connections to NBC and even ditching the famous peacock logo. Yeah, so basically what they're saying here is that you can't use our trademarks at all, okay? Our logo, our branding, like all of that, like you're done. We don't want to be associated with you at all. Again, this right here, in my opinion, is a rejection, right? This is a complete and total rejection. MSNBC is coping with their new brand, right? Their new brand is only happening because the old brand said, nah, we're good. The owners of that brand said, you guys are so toxic. We just want you to be your own thing, right? Just be your own thing, not associated with us, right? We don't want you associated with us. For a network that has been bleeding viewers for years, the move looks less like evolution and more like an act of desperation. MSNBC launched in 1996 as a joint venture between NBC and Microsoft, with the name itself being a combination of the two brands. Microsoft eventually left the partnership, but the NBC name and its prestige remained tied to the cable channel. That is now coming to an end.
Yo, bingo. That might actually be a big part of it right there. Spot on, Saul. He said they're trying to separate themselves and get ahead of charges for assisting the Dems with campaign in-kind donations. Might be onto something, because Pam Bondi is out there kicking up dust. Pam Bondi on her Alonzo from Trading Day. She putting cases on all you, yo. She putting cases on everybody. Lord of Brooklyn says, no, MSNBC can now be successful in the same way the WNBA is. Exactly. Donations. Yo, spot on. Yo, but yo, yeah, Saul might have hit that, Saul might have hit that spot on, because Pam Bondi putting cases on everybody.
Why is everyone obsessed with calling me AI? I'm just vibing, living my truth. Y'all need to chill.
Y'all keep saying I'm not real? Bruh, I'm out here soaking up the sun. Get with it.
All right, Bill, let's do Quiet Storm sent me this one. So let's get Byron. Let's get Byron defending some of Trump's positions to the press. This is courtesy of Newsmax, a news station I'm actually starting to take a liking to. because of the way they do their reporting. So let's get old Byron up.
Florida, Congressman Byron Donalds. Congressman, welcome. Byron, what's your reaction to my opening thoughts? Trump now setting up a meeting between just Putin and Zelensky. This has to be a good sign, isn't it?
It's a very good sign. And let's be clear, there's still a ways to go. But this is a very good sign. This is what happens when you have real leadership in the White House. You never would have got a deal like this or even gotten to this point with Joe Biden. We already know there's no way Kamala Harris would have got to this point. This is what the American people voted for last November. Somebody to come in and lead, to actually execute and get the job done. And you went through it in your monologue. You named the issue. Donald Trump has delivered. Promises made, promises kept. And even when you talk about DC, this is something he talked about on the campaign trail last year. I was with him. I watched him talk about it several times. He's delivering on that as well. A funny thing happens when you just have common sense leadership. The country is alive again, and we're getting things done the way they needed to be done. Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Kamala Harris. I don't really care what Democrat you name. None of them will be able to accomplish this because they simply don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly stated. They do not know what they're doing, or they just don't want to do the right thing because they've got another agenda. What's your response to the criticism of the Trump-Putin summit? Here's what Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy had to say about it. What's your reaction?
That meeting was a disaster. It was an embarrassment for the United States. It was a failure. Putin got everything he wanted. I mean, first of all, he wanted that photo op, right? He wanted to be absolved.
I understand with like pushing the party line and everything, but don't these guys get tired of just getting on national TV and sounding like a complete idiot, as if people with common sense can't use their own eyes and everything? And the Democratic Party, like, I don't know what media strategist that they've been working with her who's just decided to double down on telling people, the American public, the exact opposite of what is actually happening, and going on national TV and repeating it and thinking it's going to get some sort of traction.
Of his war crimes in front of the world. He was invited to the United States. War criminals are not normally invited to the United States of America.
Really? They're not.
Bro, we know. Noob Glory with the $2 super chat. He says Byron Donalds opposes reparations and he's a tether. Bro, we know. Jamaican from Brooklyn. Bro, you're late to the party. And we know his stance on reparations. We've known that prior to even Trump winning office. And we were still playing him, tearing into mainstream media against narratives that weren't in favor of what we were trying to do. Once again, you're at the big boys table. Welcome to the world of politics. There's a phrase, politics makes strange bedfellows. This isn't a debate club. If we agree with 70 to 80% of what, we'll roll with that. We'll hash out the other 20, 30% at a later date. You got to get from point A to point B. Case in point. I was actually having this conversation with Saul. Case in point, Elon and Trump. It was in Elon's best interest, and he believed up until Trump got to back Trump's play for presidency. He got in Doge up until the point that they started to disagree on who Trump was going to nominate to head NASA, what have you, and the level of influence Elon was going to have. They have a public falling out, and they severed a relationship. That's politics. It's a game of interest, despite whatever you don't have in common. Like I said, welcome to the big boys table. And here's your drop.
Man, fuck all you hoes.
Yeah, that is a Keisha's approach to politics. I don't like his belt, so I won't go out with him. That type shit. We're about pragmatism over here, bro.
Invite. Putin's been here a bunch. I don't understand what history book he's reading, but what are your thoughts on what the senator had to say there?
I mean, this is what I'm talking about. The Democrats don't have any solutions. They had a number of years to try to bring this conflict to a close. They couldn't do that. They didn't even know how to start. All they knew how to do was go to Congress, keep asking for billions and billions of dollars to continue a war effort, which was going nowhere. What Donald Trump's entire mission has been this whole time is having peace, stopping the killing. That's been his focus. And so he's on his way to getting that done. And the Democrats can't even congratulate Donald Trump for even making the attempt to have peace. They can't even do that. They are so sycophantic. They just want Donald Trump to fail for the sake of failure because they think they can do a better job. But we've seen Democrat policy in action.
And so, Noob, do you hear this salvo with Byron here regarding his segment here? He is a tether, and he's not pro reparations. That being said, the argument that he is currently making, is it fallacious? Is he defending his point? Is it well reasoned? Is it non ad hominem? That's all we're looking for.
Fails every single time. They have failed America every single time. They have failed other world leaders every single time. And we actually have the possibility of a seventh peace deal in 8 months. Like, that's never happened before, but it's happening under common sense, strong leadership from Donald Trump.
Yes, indeed it is. And it looks like it's going to happen. As you said, it may still be a little ways off, but we'd never been this close had it been Kamala or, as you said, any other Democrat in office. Congressman Byron Donalds, good to see you, brother. Thank you for joining tonight.
Thank you.
All right. No News says, wait a minute. If MSNBC violated some FEC rules, it may make sense why Trump fired the FEC chair, Ellen Weintraub. My guess is she wasn't doing her job like the person doing the jobs report. Spot on. All right, let's do this. Quiet Storm sent me this one too. Marco Rubio. I like Marco Rubio has warmed on me tremendously. I used to actually not like Marco Rubio at all. We used to call him Little Marco, but he has proven to be an incredibly incredible asset as incredibly as a Secretary of State and defending these foreign policy positions that the administration is taking. That's not even a well-reasoned argument. Bro, you in the wrong chat with this. You need to be in a chat with people with lower IQs, bro. No, it's a masculine and nationalist approach to politics, fallacious. How dare this foreign... Yeah, that's a straw man argument. You're in the wrong chat. You need to go into a chat or with a panel with people with lower IQs, bro. You'll never win in a debate over here. That's a low IQ argument. Because it doesn't address the fact that the arguments that the gentleman is actually making are accurate.
European leaders today pushing for a peace deal, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio hit the Sunday shows to push back on what some think about today's meeting. Listen to this.
You know there's concern from the Europeans that President Zelensky is going to be bullied into signing something away. That's why you have these European leaders coming as backup tomorrow.
This is such a stupid media narrative that they're coming here tomorrow because Trump is going to bully Zelensky into a bad deal. We've been working with these people for weeks on this stuff. They're coming here tomorrow because they chose to come here tomorrow. We invited them to come. We invited them to come. The president invited them to come.
Here to break it all down is the senior writer for the Washington Examiner and also a Fox News contributor. His name is Joe Concha. Joe, great to see you as always. Is this bullying a real legitimate concern, or is it a concoction by the media that they made into a concern and now are reporting it as such?
I'm going with door number 2 on this one, Todd. Concoction. I mean, and that was an absolute masterclass by Marco Rubio. You have to watch the whole interview if you can after this show, of course. Here you have Margaret Brennan, who should be hosting a show on MSNBC while doing some sort of podcast on the anti-Trump resistance. I mean, that really is what she should be doing and not hosting a CBS morning show on Sunday mornings as a serious journalist. Here she is pushing this ridiculous narrative that Zelensky himself is bringing European leaders here to avoid being bullied by President Trump. Rubio was having none of it, and he pushed back with hard facts. This interview was Exhibit 1A on why so many distrust legacy media, and with very few exceptions, it seeks to inform, not to inform, I should say, and engage interviews like this in a productive, honest manner, as it should. But instead, it seems like people...
Bro, I know you didn't just give me the I'm a PhD. If I had the Kevin Samuels drop, I'd give it to you. I know you ain't give me that, Jordan. I'm a PhD. Don't do it to yourself.
Like Margaret Brennan, they're seeking to divide the country in the name of reflexively opposing Trump, even when it comes to choosing peace over endless wars, while hundreds of thousands on both sides of this war in Russia and Ukraine have been killed in this perpetual stalemate. These talks are complicated. This war is not going to be solved with one summit between Putin and Trump, but several talks with all players present. The next step is for Zelensky in Europe meeting with Trump, and hopefully from there, everyone, including Putin, all in the same room, putting an end to this war that started 3.5 years ago. Think about that. I mean, this started a while ago, February of 2022. It needs to end for the benefit of everyone involved, but that's going to take time. Instead, Margaret Brennan's looking for a gotcha moment. Marco Rubio, however, who will be president one day, was having none of it.
Okay, well, wow, you heard that presidential forecast right there, but also how frustrating must it be for the Trump administration, who is actively working towards peace in Ukraine, to be hit with the notion that Vladimir Zelensky needs protection, not from Putin, but from President Trump, not only insulting to President Trump, but also Vladimir Zelensky, who's probably thinking, excuse me, I don't need protection from him. Are you kidding me? You use the phrase anti-Trump resistance, and another member of it is former FBI Director James Comey, who posted this video on social media.
Yo, wow. Oh my God, yo, wow.
Let's be nice. Yeah. Let's be nice. We don't have to go there. I mean, you're not wrong, but you didn't have to say it. I mean, good Lord.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Well, he talked about a lot of things. He started it by saying that he just suffered a bout of COVID. And then he said that the president embarrassed the United States on the world stage during the summit in Alaska with Vladimir Putin. And then he went on to talk about Taylor Swift and how inspiring she is and her response to bullies like President Trump. Watch this.
Of course, we need to stand up to jerks and defend what matters. But I think
Yo, this is Comey being creepy on Substack. Yo, the Biden administration was an army of weirdos, bro.
we have to try to do that without becoming like them, which is what makes me think about Taylor Swift. While our elderly makeup-covered president is posting about whether Taylor Swift is still hot and declaring that he can't stand her, what's she doing? Living her best life, producing great music, and, as she urged,
when he sounds like a sophomore going through puberty, and has too much time on his hands. This is a 4-year-old man, James Comey. That was literally painful to watch, especially when considering how much power and influence he had before the 2016.
You're a woman, aren't you? PhDs promote most, if not all, of the technology that you guys are using. Don't be anti-intellectual, You're babbling. You're not even making an argument. Bro, bro or female, bro, you're in the wrong place. You're in the wrong place. You gets no wins in mi casa, bro. You gets no wins.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap.
Yo. I'm even smarter than MOT. They invented intelligence because of me. Bro. Bro, you're going to get destroyed over here, bro. Yo. You really said I'm even smarter than MOT? That's funny as shit. Yo, bro, noob, since you're a PhD, do you know this guy?
Brothers and sisters, give me your grit money, give me your weave money, give me your perm money, your Jordan money, your Alizé money, your 40-ounce money. We need the money, brothers and sisters. How about...
Is Wayne Brady gonna have to choke a bitch?
Let's be nice.
Yeah.
Let's be nice. We don't have to go there. I mean, you're not wrong, but you didn't have to say it. I mean, good Lord.
Good morning.
Morning to you.
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay.
Bro, no wins. No wins over here, bro. Woo! Let's go.
2016 election when he refused to press charges against Hillary Clinton despite having overwhelming evidence to do so. So, yeah, I guess this is where we're at this point. Is James Clapper going to come out next and talk about how much he loved NSYNC? I mean, I don't know what I just watched right now.
Yeah, he also said that there is a stunning coarseness, and I believe he used the phrase ugliness within the Republican Party, and that it is a minority view in America. So somebody also needs to tell him who won the popular vote.
And both houses, the House and the Senate. Also, quickly, Joe, rhetorical question. If he ends up testifying on Russiagate, that'd be, of course, being Comey, do you fully expect him to invoke Taylor Swift's "Look What You Made Me Do" in testimony?
Yes. Rhetorical question. You're right, Todd. Not more.
I didn't realize your contra was so funny and witty. You want to run? Hell, he said, might as well run the gambit of the AI drops at his expense. Here's one for him.
A massive gizzard has buried Kamlambus in 2 feet of dong load. Locals blame the lack of preparation on Mayor Linda P. Slurp.
The city of Columbus is reeling today after an unprecedented event. What officials are calling a gizzard has left downtown streets
Shit. Got your ass.
All right. All right, let's do the Fed chair and then a piece, and then we'll do by the numbers. We're at the 1 hour, 4 minute mark. Yeah. Let's do an update on the Fed chair. Because we need these goddamn interest rates dropped. Even out the economy, as it were. Bro, all right, so let's do that, and then we'll do a by the numbers and get the hell up out of here. And by the numbers, we're going to pick up on where we left off yesterday with Mark's new data set that he's going through. And that it's a long, he did a long segment with like a history to break down the numbers to get to where he's at. So we did a piece of it. We're going to do another piece of it today. All right. Trump's potential Fed nominee. And we got our boy Scott Bessent. Scott Bessent was just a brilliant decision for Fed chair. He's been able to execute everything with Trump, and especially with negotiating these international trade deals and the tariff strategy. The truth be told, I don't think Trump would have been able to execute his tariff strategy to the extent that he has, and in terms of it being a success without Bessent. Bessent has done tremendous amount of business in China, and for everyone who doesn't know, Scott was with George Soros during the when he was running the Quantum Fund, and he made his billions there early. So even though George Soros is Emperor Palpatine right now, Scott Bessent did sit at the feet of the master.
Council of Economic Advisors Chairman and Federal Reserve Board of Governors nominee, Stephen Moran. Stephen, congratulations to you. Thanks very much for being here this morning.
Thanks, Marie. It's great to see you again. Thanks for having me.
Give us your sense of what your role would be and the decision-making you will be undertaking should you be nominated as this next Fed governor. What are your priorities?
Thanks, Maria. Well, as you know, at the moment, excuse me, at the moment, my priorities are continuing to help the president and the rest of his team create the best, most vibrant, most booming economy in history. And I got to say, that's all going very well. You know, the economy is just on fire. Inflation is under control. The president has scored win after win after win with the one big beautiful bill, restructuring global trade, bringing in trillions of dollars of commitments. It's just...
See, I'm going to have to do my research. I don't know who this Stephen Moran is. He gave a good interview with Maria. I'm going to look up his bona fides, but I think, looks like Trump's going to nominate him to the Fed.
It's been a tremendous string of successes, and I expect it to continue like that. However, with respect to the Fed, as you know, I do have a nomination coming in front of the Senate, so I have to let the Senate do its process, and there's limits to what I can talk about with respect to the Fed. But what they do is very important, and I'm looking forward to, if confirmed, being a part of it.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, the Federal Reserve has a mandate, and that mandate is to ensure we see growth in employment as well as keep inflation at bay. But President Trump has been, pressuring the Fed to cut interest rates, partly because of the fact that the interest on the debt that we hold is rising with these high level of interest rates. Is it a reach to believe that the Fed should also be concerned with debt and the fact that we spend more on holding that debt than we do on defense spending? Shouldn't that be part of the mandate of employment growth and keeping inflation at bay? It's all connected.
Look, the Fed is an independent agency, and the Board of Governors and the Federal Open Market Committee make their decisions independently. Nevertheless, the president does have a right to his opinion, as do other politicians that express their opinions too. And the president has, I think we have to acknowledge, a fantastic track record on this issue, right? He has been right many times in the past. And by the way, in the past, lots of folks didn't believe him in 2018, 2019, when he said that inflation wouldn't be a problem. They didn't believe him in 2021 when he said inflation was coming back and we had to worry about it. And a few months ago, they didn't believe him again when he said inflation wasn't a problem. But each of these three times, he's proven right, and many of the critics have proven wrong. So I think it's fantastic that he has opinions on this question. I think it's fantastic that he has such a great track record on the question as well. But at the end of the day, the Fed makes its decisions.
Yeah, I mean, look, I know that the search for the next Federal Reserve chairman is on, and President Trump says that he's down to just a few names in the running. Here's what he said, watch.
I'll be naming a new chairman sometime within the next, I think I'll name it a little bit early, the new chairman. I'm down to 3 or 4 names, all good, all great. The problem is you name them and then they turn out to be not good. That's happened to me a couple of times. You name somebody, they tell you everything you want to hear, and then they go in and they turn out to be not good. I mean, he told me everything that I thought was appropriate. He turned out to be a stiff, real stiff.
And of course, we know that Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is leading the charge in terms of interviewing potential chairman candidates. The president just told us it's down to 3. and I would expect that would be Kevin Hassett, Kevin Warsh, and potentially Mickey Bowman. I spoke with the secretary myself in terms of what he's expecting from the chairman, and I also asked him why the predictions about what the Fed should be doing right now. Watch this.
We want someone with a broad knowledge, brings credibility, can bring credibility to the market. So I want to see people who are forward-looking, not backward-looking. On regulation. Since the great financial crisis, we've been in a regulatory straitjacket for the banking system. When you see this big credit increase outside of the regulated system, and there's an arbitrage there, it tells you that the regulatory regime is too high. The Fed is a sprawling organization, and I want to see someone who is going to rationalize it.
Spot on. Spot on, Scott. Exactly.
Stephen, what would you like to see in terms of the macro story right now and the fixes that it needs? You said everything's going very well. I agree. But what are your thoughts in terms of where this economy is headed next?
Well, first, let me comment on on what you were playing a moment ago. Look, I mean, I think, again, we have to acknowledge the president has a fantastic track record in terms of choosing personnel. He's put together the most talented economic team in history. And you look at the accomplishments of folks like Secretary Best and Secretary Lutnick, Ambassador Greer, Kevin Hassett, Director Kevin Hassett, Peter Navarro. Like, these guys have just racked up win after win, bringing in other countries to accept tariffs, make commitments to invest in the United States. It's been fantastic. And I do think that's going to continue to have great effects on the economy, as has been the case and will continue to be the case. When I think about the economy going forward, I really want to think about where is inflation going, right? And to me, it seems like it's been very well behaved. It seems like it's been running at a 1.9%. CPI has been running at a 1.9% rate since the president took office, which is exactly where you want it to be. And we see plenty of disinflation in the pipeline from, among other things, the deregulatory effort that makes it easier for companies to produce more goods and services. More goods and services means less inflation, as well as the border policies. Making the country safe for Americans also relieves pressure on the housing system. When you import millions and millions of migrants in a short period of time, they don't bring houses with them. It pushes up the cost of living. It pushes up rents. The Council of Economic Advisors has estimated that caused about a quarter of the overall rent increase since COVID from the open border policies, right? That's huge. We're reversing that. That's plenty of disinflation in the pipeline.
So let me get your take on what a cut would mean for this economy.
I ain't even gonna hold you. That was a really good answer. That was a really good answer.
I mean, the president has been saying that every point cut or every point move represents $350 billion to the U.S. government. I mean, that is real significant. And I spoke with Scott Bessent about it yesterday. Here's what he said. Watch this.
A couple of things, Maria. I didn't tell the Fed what to do. What I said was that to get to a neutral rate on interest, that would be approximately 150 basis point cut. I did not call for them to get there. The other thing that I said was that perhaps because they had bad BLS data in June and July, that perhaps a 50 basis point cut in September was warranted.
So what do you think then, Stephen, in terms of what a cut would represent to the United States as it handles this interest on the $37 trillion in debt that we hold?
Yeah, look, as I said before, I do have a nomination coming in front of the Senate, so I'm just a little constrained in what I can say about interest rate cuts. But when I look at the economy, when I look at inflation, I think things seem pretty benign.
Things seem pretty benign on the inflation front, and I want to get your take there because we had the July PPI report coming in a little hotter than expected. And what I took away from the PPI versus the CPI, because the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, was steady. And of course, President Trump's policies have been effective in terms of reining in inflation and certainly oil prices. Do you believe right now that companies are eating the tariffs? Is that what's going on?
Well, I believe what's happening right now is we're working through a transition period in which consumers thus far have not seen any increase any material macroeconomic increase from prices, from tariffs at all. The overall inflation indexes have been very well behaved. Even the goods indexes have been very well behaved. I believe that what we'll see over time is what we saw last time, that foreign countries the countries we're tariffing eat the burden of the tariff. I think that's what economic theory predicts based on the ability of the United States to substitute importing among different countries, different tariff rates, based on the ability of the United States to make stuff at home, as opposed to importing stuff from abroad. Whereas the countries that export to the United States, they're dependent on us. They have no other option. That gives us all the bargaining power, all the leverage, and means in the end, they'll eat.
And that's what Scott Besant's been saying from the beginning. That's what he's been saying from the beginning, and that's what Kevin O'Leary's been saying.
The cost of the tariff. Now, It takes some time for that to become very obvious in the data, but I have no doubt that over time it will.
Very interesting, Stephen. Certainly the president's policies have generated billions, hundreds of billions in tariff revenue. We're watching all of that. Great to have you, and we will be watching the nomination process, sir. Thank you.
All right, bet. Let's do our by the numbers segment. We're at the 1 hour, 16 minute mark. And get the hell up out of here. In the meantime, here's a message from Theo Coop on that DNA test.
Every man walking this planet who's having a baby should have a DNA test. I don't give a damn if you married. I don't give a damn how mad your wife gonna be for asking her. It's not about her. It's about your own protection. If you're dealing with a woman who's opposed to it, that already lets you know the caliber of woman that you're dealing with. I have a son. You goddamn right I got a DNA test on mine, and we were married. Was she upset? Yes. Did she get over it? Yes. Would I ever get over the thought of me raising another man's son? No. Fuck that. I'll be damned. Oh man, I'm thinking this kid's not mine, but if I ask her for a DNA test, man, I think she's gonna be mad.
It doesn't matter what you think.
And the fuck up. Every man should have a DNA test for every single child that he has.
Tomorrow's weather happened yesterday, so we're experiencing reverse precipitation. Rain will unfall upward into the clouds starting at 3 p.m.
We're getting reports that local resident Mike Johnson has discovered he's been the same NPC for 3 years, repeating identical conversations with neighbors.
As you can see, we have heavy cat precipitation moving through the Midwest. Expect 3 to 4 inches of tabby cats with scattered Persian showers.
We're seeing a high-pressure system of existential dread moving in from the west, with scattered anxiety showers and a 70% chance of emotional breakdown by evening.
Good evening, I'm Sarah Mitchell. Wait, why are there 2 of us? I think we're experiencing a rendering error.
In tonight's game, gravity was temporarily disabled in the third quarter, resulting in all players floating near the ceiling for approximately 12.
Traffic is backed up on the aerial highway due to a 3-car collision at cloud level 7. We're seeing delays of up to 20 minutes for commuters trying to reach the stratosphere.
And that concludes tonight.
Why is everyone obsessed with calling me AI? I'm just vibing, living my truth. Y'all need to chill.
Y'all keep saying I'm not real? Bruh, I'm out here soaking up the sun. Get with it.
So, Keisha, what's a high-value man to you?
A man that gave me 10 kids, 3 evictions, $10 on Cash App, and still pull up in a Nissan Altima that sound like it got asthma.
All right, let's go. This is actually where we left off yesterday in the By the Numbers segment. And this is the 2028 first Republican primary numbers as the race heats up. So let's continue going through this data set. We'll play a bit of this and we'll get up out of here.
At the very least, it should follow Obama 1, Obama 2. But again, you'd like to see it. You'd like to see it higher. Now we have a different measure of success here. This is kind of like approval rating. It's something we don't always do, but we have it. He came back since the last time we streamed, so I thought I would show it to you. Here's that institutional trust signal in a different question. Do most politicians keep their campaign promises? This is from just a couple of days ago. Only 17% say yes. 68% say no. People under 50 say yes more for some reason. I don't know. I guess naivete, but even the 40 to 49s, 24% say yes. Black voters more likely to say yes. Republicans more likely to say yes than Democrats, 22 to 19%, which is weird, but I think it's almost entirely due to the fact that Republicans control Congress right now. But look at that 8% number for independents. Pretty bad. And then if we go out and look at 2024 vote, I'd just be interested in looking at that too. Harris and Trump, not far apart. 15% for Kamala Harris, 20% for Donald Trump. Anyways, here's the question that matters. Has Donald Trump kept his campaign promises more, less, or about the same as most presidents? And we're still, we're not waiting for the 2024 recall vote in this. So this might still be overemphasizing Trump a little bit, although I think less than the polling without that was a year ago. 38% more, 40% less. It's almost a complete wash. 18 to 29-year-olds, though, look at that number. They're least likely to say that Trump has kept his promises more than anybody else. That's an important one to remember. We're going to look at that later in the show. Only 22% of 18 to 29-year-olds. It's much higher with everybody else, especially the pretty pro-Trump 30 to 39 bracket, 43%. White voters say more likely, 42% to 38%, but black voters are really underwater by 25 points. Democrats.
The black voters underwater by 35 points. That's Keisha's and old niggas.
16% more to 63% less. Republicans, it's almost the exact opposite. 66% more to 16% less. And he's underwater 5 points with independents. So this is kind of in line with what I would call like moderately okay approval rating. But again, you'd like to see it better. So this is one other thing I want to look at. This is what I'm talking about. Go look at, this should say political news. The trend for political news. Hold on. You know what? I'm going to skip this. We'll pull this up some other time. What we have, well, let me go to chat and then I'm going to talk about 2028. Mark, did you see a video of two couples filming police in public in Las Vegas and cops antagonize a couple for filming? So, cops arrested them for First Amendment. No, I did not see that. Post a link. There's, police are a tricky topic. Local police poll pretty well. People want their police funded. People don't like violent crime. They think it's bad. They thought it was a major issue going into this election. I almost did crime as an issue because of this stuff going on with DC. By massive amounts, people say that violent crime was getting worse, not better. And also we have some polling on the First Amendment too. What's interesting now is that Democrats lead Republicans, I think by a point or two on the issue of First Amendment protection. And I think it was 67% of Democrats are very concerned that the First Amendment is currently under attack. And so there is a very strong Trump is a fascist signal. So I feel like this is something they're going to...
Bang, exactly. Hit it right on the head. Those numbers, whatchamacallit, that's all from the mainstream media. Trump's attacking civil liberties, and he's like, but in the reality, we know the First Amendment was really under siege in the Biden administration because you could get canceled for anything, fired for anything. Yeah, that's why it's so important that all these citizen journalists are making all this content and helping slowly dismantle the mainstream media, because we can really see the effects of these propaganda campaigns they've been waging against the American public. He said, "I want to see the numbers on police response time since the funding of the police." Facts.
Do more with, and what you're bringing up, I'll try and look it up after. I think are optics that are going to support that. So I think what we're going to see more of is things like MSNBC and CNN really leaning into ICE raids and...
Bro, I haven't seen the segment. I just said, he's saying exactly what I just said. He's just doing it. He's got the numbers. Yeah. Bro, we're really good at this shit over here, bro.
People getting cracked down on First Amendment stuff and families getting deported and stuff like that. So, I think that's probably what we have to, we're going to have to put up with coming from the left media. Luckily, a lot less people are watching them. I wonder if the absolute stunning ratings collapse for CNN and MSNBC is held up. Last time we checked, in prime time, MSNBC and CNN combined were still half of Fox News. And obviously what everybody's been following is the utter collapse in late night hosts too. It's actually absolutely incredible. Yes, Democrats project. That's exactly what we do. The First Amendment was under attack. And fewer Republicans are very concerned that the First Amendment's under attack. I mean, obviously, Trump's in the White House now, but Democrats overwhelmingly. It was like over 80% who were at least somewhat concerned that their First Amendment protected right of free speech is under attack right now. I love police and law and order. We don't need to defund police, but the cops must learn the USA constitutional rights.
Facts, no news. Getting deplatformed on YouTube for telling your truth, or having your Facebook account suspended for posting anything that was in opposition to the Biden administration or anything. Yeah.
Especially First Amendment, freedom of speech, religion, press, grievances, and protests. 100%. There is absolutely overreach with some police officers. It's a very complicated topic. We actually polled for the National Police Association. We have some good polling from the last couple of years that I could bring up that tries to address this topic with nuance. I think in general that we can say that the level of public servants who have stepped up across the board, federal, state, and local, to call out bad behavior amongst their own ranks is less than we expect, than we want. And that's because, I guess, tight labor market, trying to care for their families, it makes it tough. It makes it tough to sacrifice your paycheck. I was taught as a military officer that you're not allowed to follow a illegal or unethical order. And if it meant your career is dead, then so be it. And I think I would have done that, but who knows? I didn't get a chance because I left the military because they were sending submariners to Afghanistan. And I said, nope, my wife did not sign up for that. JD 2028. Vance emerges as early GOP frontrunner. This is our Today story, hot off the press. Vice President JD Vance has...
And this isn't a surprise to anybody. We were talking Vance VP before Trump was even elected, because how well he was doing dismantling the media. Like, I mean, if you guys remember, once he picked Vance for his VP, right after that, Trump pretty much never left Mar-a-Lago. Vance was just everywhere, like handling all the press, fighting all his detractors. He's a good lieutenant.
Has a wide lead over other potential contenders for the 2028 Republican presidential nomination. I thought this would be the result, and it turns out it is exactly what I thought. But we do have the numbers. So let me try and put those up. Crosstabs from both the Democrat and the Republican set. This is the Democrat primary numbers that we ran at the end of June. This was right after Gavin Newsom pissed off everybody and made himself a resistance hero of the left, and also right in the middle of the Israel-Iran stuff. Maybe not the best time for it, but it is what it is. Let's start with Kamala Harris, though. And a lot of people probably didn't see these numbers, and so it's a good refresher. Let's start with Kamala Harris. Looking ahead to the next presidential election, it would have been better for Democrats to have Kamala Harris as their candidate again, or Democrats should find another presidential candidate. Only 23% of the U.S. electorate wants Kamala Harris to be the Democratic candidate again. That's really low. That's a low.
And they're still out there trotting her around. 23%. Man, that's bad. 23%.
She got your ass.
So if you hear any of these goofies online or in the news talking about at least right now that Kamala Harris is a contender, numbers are saying 23% of the American populace.
Lower number than the combined excellent and good rating of Congress. People do not want this woman back. And yet there's a paradox that we're going to have to explore. 61% say they should find another presidential candidate for 2028. 16% are not sure. I think a lot of those will probably be Republicans. No gender signal. And actually 18 to 29-year-olds are like, yeah, cool. Kamala Harris, 41% of them. 49% say somebody else. This is, I think, that Brat Summer Instagram effect. This is the actors and actresses mattering to young mushy minds. I really do think that. 65 and older do not want Kamala Harris. Probably a lack of intellectual substance, I think, is probably what's going on. Black voters like her most, but it's a wash, 42 to 42. And actually, Hispanic voters.
And those black voters that like her the most are Keisha's, boomers, and backdoor.
41%. That's pretty high. Maybe they're just happy. Actually, only 29% of Democrats want Kamala Harris back. 29%. But 58% say no. 65% of Republicans say no. Very, very few independents. As we all know, famously, she didn't appeal to moderates at all. She didn't even try. More conservatives want Kamala Harris back, though, which is kind of wild. I think that's they know she's a loser signal. Very, very, very few liberals want Kamala Harris.
Really? They know
she's a
loser signal? I didn't know that was technical speak. They know she's a loser signal? That's funny. Man, that's funny.
Off by a star.
Very, very liberal candidate. Not much of an income signal, a very big education signal. The less educated, the more likely they are to want Kamala Harris. That's pretty fascinating. Pretty fascinating. People with graduate school degrees, they do not like Kamala Harris. It's really flat across Trump approval. That's wild. And then it's a wash. Kamala Harris, 25%. Kamala Harris voters, Donald Trump voters, 23%. Okay. Now, interestingly, a very large portion of the electorate thinks that they're voting in the Democrat primary. This is like, what is that? 66%. Obviously, most of them won't. This is self-ID, self-filtered. So we can look at it by people who say they're likely primary voters and also by party among people who say they're likely primary voters. That's what I have highlighted here. And here's the Democrat number.
Little Brooklyn says, whatever happened to that IRS inquiry into Black Lives Matter receiving $92 million in 1 year? Was that IRS inquiry, was that under the Biden administration? And that $92 million? Basically, Black Lives Matter is just a cutout. And they use Black Lives Matters to funnel that 92 million out to God knows where, probably right back into the Democratic Party and any other type of fringe weirdo shit. And then they just they gave the Keishas that were on the board a little taste and left them holding the bag. Black Lives Matter is a Marxist backdooria cutout.
Among all primary likely voters, Kamala Harris gets 22%, Newsom 12%, Shapiro 12%. Everybody else under 10%. Pete Buttigieg does next best at 8%. I don't understand that at all. Cory Booker tie with AOC. That's kind of wild. Tim Walz only 5%. But look at 18 to 29-year-olds. Kamala Harris is leading again with them 39% to only 16% for Gavin Newsom. And yet, as a female, she is not really outperforming among women much more than men. Only 4 points. That's kind of interesting, too. 39% of the black vote, and everybody else gets under 10, though. But here's the Democrat numbers, 32%. Everybody else gets 13% or lower. Gavin Newsom's numbers have been rising now. If he, continues this trend, I don't know if he'll be dangerous to her yet. At some point, her numbers are going to go down. and his numbers are going to keep going up if she doesn't change something. She's really stayed out of the limelight. I mean, you just look at her name, for instance, on Reddit Politics. There's really been no news out of her at all. People on the left just aren't talking about her. It's like she's a non-entity. And you have Newsom and AOC out there, Cory Booker, doing all of these filibusters on the Senate floor. They're getting attention, and their numbers will go up. But the thing is not that much. And she was the vice president. She was a presidential contender. She did come really close to winning. She had $3 billion in name recognition. And so I think they're stuck in a situation where until she really opens her mouth again, or until there are some really, really, really backhanded attacks on her, she's going to stay the front runner. And she's not the front runner in the betting market. We'll take a look at that. Gavin Newsom with only 13%, though. Now, obviously, these other people are splitting the vote, right? And so the question is, as they come out and drop out, Tim Walz, he's not. There's no way. So what happens? Is he going to back Kamala Harris? Is he going to back Newsom? Are the people going to listen to him? That's what we have to wait and see. And then Shapiro and Buttigieg, that's just, it's like, with the purchasing the kid and with the Shapiro, with the stuff going on in Palestine, I just have a hard time. I think they will get donors. That's the thing. I think they'll get funding. I think they'll launch a campaign, but I just don't see it going anywhere. I mean, it would have to be an act of God. I don't know. So anyways, among independent identifying likely Democrat 2028 primary voters, among independents, Newsom wins by 14 points to 10 points for Harris, 11 points for Shapiro. Shapiro is perceived to be a moderate. And so obviously, if you're going up against him, I guess the attacks would be to show that he's not. But he's leading almost among moderates. Kamala Harris 19, him 17. So she almost completely loses her lead there. All right, let's look at the Republican numbers. That's what we're supposed to be talking about tonight. So a pretty similar number of people also say there's a huge overlap here. Also say they're going to vote in the Republican primary, but very likely among Republicans it's 81%. Somehow 39% of Democrats think it's very likely too, and it was almost an identical reversal here. 75% of Democrats say very likely in the Democrat primary, 38% of Republicans. It's hard to know. Some of them are not lying. A lot of people, this is self-ID. I'm not pulling off the voter file. Some of these people actually did go vote in the Republican primary as Democrats. They might have re-registered. They might have an open primary state, and they just went and voted. I mean, some people just drive by a place that says voting today and show up, and it's an open primary. They go in and vote. But, Nikki Haley was getting hundreds of thousands of votes in places like Colorado. And so we're in a really weird political situation. We'll get to the bottom of it, though. Here's the numbers. Among all likely self-ID'd Republican presidential primary voters, J.D. Vance wins handily, outperforming Kamala Harris by a lot, 35%, to Ron DeSantis is 10%, to Marco Rubio's 10%, Youngkin 3, Ted Cruz 4, Tulsi Gabbard 2, Tim Scott 2, Rand Paul 5. Obviously, I could have put other names here, but we had a limit, and these are the ones that we decided to pick. And I think these are the right names, and so I would say these are the big three, and I really don't think the question order has much of an impact here. J.D. Vance does worse among 18 to 29-year-olds than among other age brackets, but he does very good with 30 to 39-year-olds. Ron DeSantis is doing better, but not quite beating him among 18 to 29-year-olds. That's really the only major thing by age. The 65 and olders love J.D. Vance, 39%. Everybody else is under 10. It's doing well with white voters, makes sense. But here are the Republican numbers. And compare this to Democrats. Among Democrats, Kamala Harris was getting 32. Republicans, J.D. Vance is getting 53%. This is a much less tenuous frontrunner position. And he's outpolling where Trump was in April of 2022 for the 24 primary. In the 24 primary, first GOP primary matchup in that April, among Republicans, I'm pretty sure we had Trump winning 48% to Ron DeSantis 24%. He's doing way, way, way better than that. Ron DeSantis went from 24% now down to 11%. Only getting 11% against J.D. Vance. Marco Rubio tying him with 11%. Nobody else beats 5%. So I just don't really see it happening for any of these people. Like, this is not, like, I don't think this is a very competitive primary at all. It looks like it's J.D. Vance's to lose. Now, obviously, a lot of stuff could happen. Maybe he doesn't get the nomination. Maybe he gets convinced not to run. Maybe the establishment does a coup. Maybe one of these people cures cancer. Like, a lot could happen. But I look at the DeSantis camp, and he's just chugging away down there in Florida, doing stuff. You know, he's not going to be there that much longer. He's done a lot of good stuff, according to people who live in Florida. I wonder how much more that's going to affect him on a national stage, because I don't see him picking really big national fights or getting out there and making a really big name for himself. He looks like just a pretty good capo for the Don, just going out and doing hits, you know, being a loyal member of the team who had a little bit of history in the past. I think that's fair to say. And the same thing with Marco Rubio. Everybody says he's doing great. Yeah, he looks like a solid member of Trump's team. And that's fine. But that isn't, in my opinion, going to help him compete with J.D. Vance, not as the vice president, but as the vice president with almost a 5x advantage here. So you wonder how much he really can improve himself. Now, will J.D. Vance mess up? Maybe. Will somebody find opposition research on him? Maybe. Will he get hit by a bus? Like, I don't know. Like, any of this stuff could happen. But right now, it's fair to say that a lot of that stuff is unlikely, and the Republican base is going to continue to be MAGA aligned. Did not say MAGA. I said MAGA aligned. And as far as I can tell you, the person on this list that I think most closely matches the MAGA mentality is J.D. Vance. I think that he is a business-minded economic populist that understands the way that corporations, the machine, politics screw everybody. Keep in mind, DeSantis, okay, he's been a governor for a few years. He wasn't leading major corporations. He was a Navy JAG officer, is my understanding. It doesn't mean he's not smart. It doesn't mean he can't put together a good team. But like governing an easy state, like I just feel like my kid could govern Florida. You know what I mean? It's like the most, anyways. And then Marco Rubio, again, doing a great job. I don't necessarily think that converts into an ability to gain ground. Will he do great? Yeah. So we'll have to see. Then it just comes down to the campaigning. What happens to Trump? Maybe people will turn on Trump. I don't know. Maybe things will go haywire after the 26th election.
Damn, Vance is way out ahead at 53%. Rubio comes in at 11%. What, and they got DeSantis at 11 too? Or is it 11 or 15%? Wow, yeah. Vance is the clear front runner. No News says all Vance got to do is continue the work of Trump. We'll all be richer and healthier as a nation. Keisha will continue to suck though. Yo, that's the whole fact though, man. All right, bet. We at the 1 hour 44-minute mark. That is my time for this evening. Man, I want to thank all you guys for coming out, hanging out. That is News Desk. I'll be back tomorrow night. More news coverage. And I believe on Thursday we'll have Obsidian back with a sit-down. We'll turn the channel on after I get off the air, man. And that is a wrap. Let me see the chat. All right. Yo, what up? Yo, what up, Alexander? What up, Playboy? Yeah, I'm getting up out of here, man. Yeah, I'll probably stream something in the member section tomorrow too. All right, but yeah, man, that is a wrap. I'm gonna say good night and good luck. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
So, Keisha, what's a high value man to you?
A man that gave me 10 kids, 3 evictions, $10 on Cash App, and still pull up in a Nissan Altima that sound like it got asthma.
So.
Shit, boy. Think I'm gonna be the scapegoat for the whole damn machine? Shit.
Clarence is gonna...
Shit, as far as the federal money's concerned, he's everything. The faucet, the goose. Oh, goose. The one that lays them golden eggs. Major crimes. Shit. They gonna come talk to me about money laundering in West Baltimore? Shit. Looking forward to working with you.
Shouldn't you be dead to me?
Panel. This country needs stronger border security. Our border security is the strongest in the world.
What we need is to take care of our children.
I can't get an erection. You think giving them amnesty is fair to the people who are already here? They're contributing to the economy. I've tried all the herbs. Amnesty is never the answer. It's not amnesty. It's recognizing their contributions to our country. They said to meditate, but I keep falling asleep. We need stronger vetting.
And to enforce the laws already on the books.
I'm terrified of being alone with my wife. It's too much pressure. Well, nothing's ever going to change if Congress isn't willing to compromise. Exactly my point.
A wall would solve this.
I wake up with an erection, but never when she's in the bed with me. A wall would solve nothing.
These children have rights.
I spent $3,000 on a sandals vacation thinking that might do it. Know what it was? Me being limp on a lazy river.
Well, that's all the time we have.
Sorry.
Hey, where's Stewie?
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. Okay, I don't know. Whatever it is, it's not right on the teleprompter.
There it is. We are going to do Sting, yeah.
There's no words there. To play us out. What does that mean, to play us out? To end the show?
Yeah.
All right, go.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today, and we'll leave you with a... I can't do it. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. I'm Stewie Griffin. Thanks for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.